you're doing well. I haven't done so many of these trials type of videos, but also I haven't followed them at all because they really started to affect my own health, and I really do not like to watch them. But what I found very interesting yet today and yesterday, particularly today, when this girl, and the reason why I found it interesting is that there are so many when I read comments on some channels, some laws and whatever crimes, whatever these type of channels, is that many people, particularly in the case of Gregg in Mississippi, who brutally murdered her mother and also was attempting to kill her stepfather, which apparently now they are in a super awesome relationship. They are calling each other from the jail every single day, which is also weird, and they are smiling each other on the court. But what I think is very, very interesting is the mental state, and the case is because from the mental health perspective, and it is because also the defense team is trying to argue the insanity at that time, but also now it's the time to prove by expert what actually her diagnosis is. Is there a diagnosis, or was she actually in insanity through some disorders, and has she done this through some insanity, why she was dissociated out of her mind as she done that. And this is when I really want you to look at, and I put the thumbnail with her eyes. Look at her eyes. And for me, without even going through seeing any of the experts, which I just actually saw right now, like just few minutes ago when I was watching that, this expert, and I want you to go back and watch that particular expert. So for her, just to look at her and the video, what she was doing and how she was doing it, and her eyes and her behavior in the court, I mean, again, guys, the eyes, look at the eyes. To me, she knew exactly what she was doing, and she most certainly has an anger issue, right? The anger in her eyes are insane. And today, when there was a series of experts came in who were actually the ones that she already saw with her mother when her mother was alive, and then also afterwards. And even the expert, like the therapist or what have you, when she was going with her mother to her, she even in the court, she said, do you know her? She's like, yeah, I know her. And she was smiling at her, and she was smiling back at her. Weird, right? I mean, it's just really weird how these people are smiling at each other. In any case, so even there at that time when she was talking about her, and and the last expert made a fantastic point, and is like, I'm 100% agreeing with that expert's description of actually her mental state. But let's go there about one by one. So her therapist, thanks for the like, guys, appreciate it. So when she was on, her therapist, when her mother was alive, she was talking about her, right? She was like this great in school. She was like this genius type of person, and she was angry at her students. To me, when she was in that situation, one scenario when she was so angry at her peers that they are so dumb, they are slow, and she's so smart and she's sharp, and they were not getting it. And so at one point in the classroom, the teacher, and she was so frustrated with her peers in that classroom. That teacher had opened a laptop, and there were these results of the quizzes or whatever that exam was, and she took a picture of that, and then she was, got some, issues with that, right? And so to me, that number one shows her, actually her mental state of this criminality, right? Like, who does that? Right? She knows that she's not supposed to do that. Which student would not know not to take a picture of the laptop, in the laptop of the teacher, and the results of the exams, right? Like the answers of the exam. Like, who does that? It's a criminal act, and she knew that, right? So that to me was number one, her state of the tendency for criminality, and she knew that. She knew also that at that time she was 14 years old, not to smoke marijuana. She knew that. She did that anyways. She freaked out when the mother found out that through a friend's parents who actually talked, or actually through a friend who told the mother that she's smoking marijuana, which obviously with 14 years old you can't do that. She was angry at her mother, and when you see the video, she slams takes her backpack, slams the car, and she's angry. And there was testifying today that in the car they were not talking. They was angry, right? Like she was angry at her that day, that moment, right before that happened. So that all, and she was dating a boy which she's not supposed to date at 14, right? So all of these things to me already sets up the stage, regardless of your mental stage or what have you, that the tendency of criminality was there. And the eyes, guys, look at the eyes, right? So then when the therapist today, in the beginning, I think she was the first therapist. This was the therapist who she went to with her mother together. And that, again, guys, you know me by now, I'm very much against therapists to call themselves therapists and she was an English, she studied English. And this is, again, over again, I see this all the time. I'm telling you in pretty much all my videos, don't trust, just check the backgrounds. So she is an English major, and then she did some masters for psychotherapy or what have you, and then got a certificate, and then she calls herself a therapist. And the way she analyzed her with the mother, it was so superficial level. And that's, guys, that comes in when you don't know about genetics, you don't know about background, you don't know about medicine, and she just a surface level, tell me about the problems you had, tell me about what happened today at school. This girl is a sister of a child who died due to genetic disorder, a severe genetic mutation, right? Died because of that, the father. And so if the sister, or what is it, I don't know, the sister or brother who died because of genetic disorder, then you need to understand that may or may not some genetic dispositions going on as well, right? And that comes into the mental health psychiatric analysis, right? But if you are a therapist and like having a master's and you are studied English as a major and then do some classes and get some certificates as a therapist, and then you're a licensed therapist, you know how much I love this stuff, right, guys? Then you can just talk about, how was school? What did you do at school? Did it make you angry? This is just surface level, which in this case for background, which in that case you need genetics, knowledge, you need medical knowledge, you need to understand the history and deep dive. What she described, I barely had a hard time just finish that because you could not help her. And in fact, she said that at one point she decided to stop it, to stop seeing her, because she said, I had to do some soul search and to decide, am I really helping her? You don't. Because the way you do therapy is so surface level, of course you couldn't help her. In any case, at that moment when I looked at the behavior of Carly, she was like, when the therapist talk about her, she's very attentive, like this. But the moment when they say something negative, and that will bring me to the last psychiatrist, actually, who was fantastic and exactly made the diagnosis that I was thinking already, although I'm not a psychiatrist, but it's not rocket science, okay? So the moment when they say something negative about her, that is the eyes that you see in the thumbnail. I took a screenshot and I put in a thumbnail. The eyes, she turns into these evil eyes, right? Then very fantastic, because she has these anger inside of her which goes straight up into those guys. Eyes never lies, full stop. You can see someone, the soul, deep inside the soul with the eyes. And you write me in the comments, what do you see in my eyes? It's not rocket science, guys. And so and she, whenever there was like this, oh, she's such a smart girl, she loves the school, she's so smart, she reads Dostoevsky, what have you. And then she's like, and she drinks her Coke, as nothing has happened. And you're like, oh my God, how normal, cutie girl she is. And then when something negative says, she turned this to this evil eye. That's a hint. What? Let's do a Q&A. What is this hint of what? Grandiosity and narcissistic traits, correct? Because the narcissistic traits and the grandiosity complex, which narcissistic people have, is that the moment you say something negative, everything comes up, right? And that is very interesting to see here, right here. So let's jump straight forward to the last Dr. Piquet, I believe. And I mean, he went on and on and on. And I was like, what kind of, and by the way, the dialect or the accent is so, I don't know what I should say. Is it cute or interesting? The Southern accent, Mississippi accent. At the time, what wine, the apple pie, it's just, I don't know, it's just so interesting. Anyway, so with that accent, but the way he was talking was so interesting, like someone, as he was talking to a friend, like a buddy, and just watch it. But he went on and he went all of the, from left and right and up and down, the diagnosis, and here and this possibility and that possibility. And then I looked into this and that and here and looked at from here. And it was just amazing from all angles, like a scientist. He covered it all. And he did not left any page uncovered. He analyzed it from all angles, like as a scientist, he's not a scientist, but like a scientist, he was like, this thing cannot be possible because of this. Then I looked into this psychiatric disorder, but because of these things, this is not the diagnosis, because, and I looked into this, and because of these things, this is not that, right? So he did a fantastic, and also the time and the beginning, I didn't take it so much seriously. I was like, let me just still listen, because the way he was talking and describing it was just so like weird, not like doctor like. So, and but I still listened because I wanted to learn about the case as a total. But then at the end, he literally said exactly what I was saying. First of all, she is absolute not insane when she did that. She knew exactly what she was doing. She had a purpose. She went straight up there, took the device, you know what it is, and then she literally, not once, but twice, straight up in the head of the mother. Listen, she's 14 years old. And I mean, so precise, not once, not the second just shoots out, because if you're so mentally out of your state, as often she can describe as like out of body, she was never out of body. She knew exactly, she had a target, she went straight up, got it, and then she straight up did it, and straight in the head, not once, which you can say it's a coincidence. She just, you know, she did something, it just cut into her face or head. No. Twice in the head. That's precision. Who does that? You know? And so that also shows the preciseness of the mental state. Then she waits, she goes down, and then she hides that device in the back, and she knows exactly where the cameras are. That also shows the exact mental state. But then she goes on, let her mother die, or was already dead, most likely, and then she takes her cell phone, the mother's cell phone, puts in the mother's cell phone password, goes in there, text message through the mouth, the wording of the mother to the to the stepfather, are you coming, honey? You know, that is all awake like hell. And that also shows there's no insanity or any kind of, you know, with the way in the mental state that she wasn't aware what she was doing. She knew exactly what and again, when you look at her eyes, whenever I say, I'm telling you, look at her eyes, when the moment the conversation, and nobody mentions that, the moment conversation shifts into a negative against her, her eyes become this again. And again, what happened at the moment, she was angry. She was angry at her mother. Look at the video where she takes the backpack out, slams the door at the SUV, from the SUV. She was angry at her mother. They were not talking in the car. She had a mission and she was angry and she couldn't help it. And no, the medication switch is not a defense, because medically that's not even, and all the expert actually prove that that's not even the case biologically, okay? And so how the medication goes through the body and shows even action, so that's out of the question anyway. And so, and then what I found it interesting is that the moment when she so the last Dr. Piquet, I want you, he has a very lengthy expert view, right? It was very lengthy, and his language was so understandable, very easy to follow, excellent scientific way of analysis, and the way he describes it was fantastic. So 100% I agree with his analysis, because it was exactly matching what I was saying day one. At the very end, when it comes to his what's the result, like what is finally your analysis, he literally said that she has anxiety and depression disorder, and that is all the symptoms she was actually showing. The bipolar, what have you, it's a little bit like that, and so she has some tendency of schizophrenia, I think. No, she didn't. He didn't say schizophrenia. No, I'm sorry. Psychopathic tendencies, and definitely not schizophrenia, because the way he also mentioned because and I 100% agree with that, because when you watch literally, and I want to, if I can see it again, it's very hard to watch. There is this lady, she is a lawyer, but she has schizophrenia, and very severe one, and she didn't take her meds, and she killed, like with a car, she run over somebody or something in that interrogation room. Holy cow. With people with schizophrenia, they have a hard time to really, they're suffering inside, because there are these no voices talking, and she is between the two realities. Like there's this reality, there's inside of the person reality. So, and you watch her like for 1 hour, it's hard to watch. She was pushing so hard to suppress that inner voice. So that's schizophrenia, and when you definitely, it's not her. So that's definitely not schizophrenia. She also, the Dr. Piquet said, she was kind of manipulating every time that she when she describes, I was out of my body, I had out of body these experiences. But Dr. Piquet rightfully said, that's not, if you really have that diagnosis or that disorder, you can't like easily say, I was getting in and out, I'm like describing, because they have a hard time to even to deal with that. So definitely not the case of schizophrenia, full stop. But then when he said that this psychopathic tendencies was in the notebooks that she took, some things that she wrote, was some tendency of that. And then guess what? Dun, 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 dun. Narcissistic tendencies, right? Why? And at the moment he said that, guess what happened? Because he was talking about anxiety disorder and depression, and then he was like some psychopathic tendencies, and the moment he says that, she was doing this, okay, because she was all the time, she was like that, and then she was like this, okay, and you're like, that's where she crying or something. And then when he said, but also in narcissistic tendencies, she was manipulative, even manipulating me. And then no, he was saying narcissistic tendencies because also she's very charming. And the moment, because she was like, when I talk, she's likable, she's charming. Even when she talked with me, she was very charming. The moment he said that, she was like this, from psychopathic, psycho, right? And then she goes into, she's very narcissistic tendencies, she's very charming. She goes from this, she's very charming, she even charmed me, and she was like that, this. When she did that, boom, full stop. So she goes from all of the psychopathic tendencies and the notebook, and then she goes like this the whole time. and you have no idea, is she now crying, is she sad, or like, oh my god, what did I do, like, oh my god, I don't even know what does this mean, right? So she's like this the whole time. And then the moment she, but she has a narcissistic tendency, she's very charming, and then she's like this. Oh my god, when I saw that, guys. And then he went on and to describe like the grandiosity, and also how she, you know, she was this genius, right, in school, above others. And also she was angry and frustrated, and she talked in diminishing way on the peers, that they are so slow, didn't get it, and they're so, why didn't they don't get it, like, I'm special, what have you. But you know, you could say like, oh, maybe she, and the whole time she could think, oh, maybe she was a genius, right? Like, oh my god, she loves school and all of this. But the behavior, guys, that's so critical. The moment she's this what narcissist does, right? The moment it was a triggered wording, but she's very charming, then she turned into this. Guys, it doesn't matter the age, guys, and that's new. Like, these narcissistic tendencies in adolescent, this severe, and the anger in the eyes, like the moment when the first her therapist actually said, and they smiled at each other, and everything was nice, and she did nice things to her, and she was good in school, and she loved school, she read Dostoevsky and these and that. And then the moment she said like that, something negative about her, no, the moment she said, but then I closed it off because I checked out. I stopped seeing her. That moment, immediately the switched in the eyes from this into I'm gonna kill you look, Oh my god, that was scary. The switch, guys, the switch. And people with not only aggression, and actually Dr. Piquet at the end said because of that she took marijuana, because she was this anxiety and depression disorder, that she was feeling this anxiousness, and she snapped at people, right? And she that day in the school, she snapped at one of her friends, and that's why she took marijuana to calm that down. I think she may very well be aware that she has this anger issues, and again, in the video was the proof. The way, and I didn't even saw like yesterday, I started the video. I didn't want to watch it because I don't want to expose myself to brutality, because it really affects my mental health. And so I started the video at the car, and then she gets out of the car and then takes her backpack, slams the SUV. That was like, whoa, what's that? Very, very aggressive and angry. And now today they actually mentioned that there was very tense moments in the car with her mother, angry. And again, the anger issue and the narcissistic tendency, but together with psychopathic tendencies, and giving the background, to me, that's not a case of insanity, full stop. She knew exactly what she was doing, very calculated. The eyes, guys, the eyes. Very switch, immediately angry to the people who talks negative about her, and she just cannot calm it down. The intense anger, and that again, all the symptoms from the anxiety disorders. Actually, in fact, I have literally prepared several videos that I want to do for you guys about the anxiety and I have several, actually not very intense, from books. I have tons of books here. I put this together. Anxiety disorder is actually, and that's why, interesting enough, I talked in my previous Sunday live where I said that I have in the description a scientific self-esteem assessment quiz. It's free, and I analyze it for you and give you the score and give you some tips. And in fact, why I talk so much about self-esteem, high self-esteem, because it's straight up related to anxiety and anxiety disorders. And if you want to learn more about anxiety disorders, step by step, all of the nuts and bolts of anxiety disorders and the steps and everything about it, stay tuned, subscribe, because it's coming, okay? And I literally have lots of things that are already prepared. That's why I'm in the background working on these stuff, guys. But I want you to know the self-esteem is 100 million % in textbook, literally related to anxiety disorders, and so you need to have a good self-esteem as well. So if you again want to take the free scientific self-esteem assessment quiz, is in the description, and I give you the results and after analysis, okay? So in any case, that is the result, and I want you to, if you really, that's why I put in the title, want to learn about, holy cow, mental health 101, mental health education, watch the whole Dr. Piquet's analysis and testimony. It's just unbelievable. It's really great. And in fact, I had no idea, because to me, the way he was talking was very interesting, like the style he was talking, not a standard, expert like, but when the defense, and that's the moment where I stopped and then I started the video, is the defense actually asked about the background, was kind of challenging the background, because turns out, holy cow, he got this psychiatric and forensic psychiatric title in 2023, last year. What? And so he doesn't look that young, but apparently he's super young. And so, and he got, as a fellow, psychiatric fellow, was starting to seeing patients as a fellow, psychiatric fellow, in 2022. What? So, wow, guys, that's very interesting. So, but still, the way I loved it, exactly how not a psychiatrist, but for me, 100% was my diagnosis, if you will, was 100% matching with his. So for me, the behavior and the genetics and the background, the history says it all, particularly the eyes and the behavior, the narcissistic tendency was like, boom, was a great catch. The moment I cut it, when he said that, also with the behavior, was a 100% match right there live. I mean, was crazy, guys. Go back and watch it. I don't like to have these like live streams trials. Just go watch the trial. Like, I don't understand the channels live streaming the live stream. Like, what does it even, what? Yeah, money, money and fame, that's what it is. But we don't need that. People on my channel don't need that. We are all smart. We can go and do our own analysis. I'm just putting my 2 cents to what to look for, and you can go back and watch these tiny details, which straight up right there. Nice education. If you want to learn a lot about disorders, the way he described them, boom, 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 111, very nice mental health education. I mean, was awesome. So Dr. Piquet, the last guy who was talking about very lengthy, very, very digestible. Go back and watch that. So that's my 2 cents. She was definitely not insane. She knew exactly what she was doing. The eyes are pretty evil eyes, super angry, entitled also, and also um, some grandiosity and narcissistic traits. 100% agreed. Okay. So I hope you liked it, guys. If you did, I thank you so much for the likes. I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments. I put the chat closed, but you can, after the video closing, you can put your comments in the comments and your 2 cents. I would love to hear from you guys. And then I will also have another video that I was planning. Maybe I will do afterwards. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. It's about how narcissists, actually the narcissistic comments that other people would think that bring you down, can actually help you to thrive. And I will tell you exactly how. Okay? Because in our channel we describe the narcissism and how we can deal with narcissists in a very healthy way, in a very unusual way, all based on my experience and knowledge I have in this regard, but definitely not like Romani and the other professors, what have you, in a very toxic way. Very, very uplifting, because we all can thrive if you know how to deal with that. So stay tuned. It's most likely, I will not do it now, but tomorrow most likely. Okay. Otherwise, stay tuned and stay healthy, happy, and check out all the links in the description. So many informative stuff is there for you, waiting for you. Okay, take care. Have a good night. Bye bye.